how I'm firing. I'm strong. I'm strong. I'm strong. Strong. Ah, 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 ah.
All right, guys, we are back. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy CMB checking in. And guys, say it ain't so, man. We're talking about Jaime Munguia, and I wasn't going to make this video tonight. I was going to wait till tomorrow, but it's been bothering me, so I figured I'd go ahead and get this out to you guys tonight. And it's bothering me because I like Jaime Munguia. I like him as a fighter. I watched him grow as a fighter. He just seems like, you know, he's becoming a more well-rounded fighter. And then we get this news today. I'm looking at the article here. It says that Munguia tests positive for testosterone. So let's get into the article, and I'll get my 2 cents on it here real quick, guys. Let me pull it up here. So it says Jaime Munguia has reportedly come up dirty on a drug test. Has come up dirty on a drug test, coming up positive for exogenous testosterone metabolites from a urine sample from his May 3rd victory over Bruno Saras in the rematch in Riyadh. Mike Coppinger reports that the urine from his A sample from Munguia was taken on May the 4th. The Eddie Reynoso trained Munguia has 10 days to request analysis of his B sample for exogenous origin of testosterone metabolites. So they're still going to have to, he still has time to request the B sample to be looked at. And I guess if that happens, we'll see if, you know, if Jaime Munguia was on performance enhancing drugs. I'm disappointed, of course, but Jaime Munguia did make a statement on his verified Instagram page. I want to read it to you guys. And I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt, guys. But it says here, it says, throughout my boxing career, I have undergone numerous anti-doping tests and have never tested positive. I was tested twice during this training camp, and both results came back negative, which is why receiving this notification of an adverse finding has been a complete surprise to me. Several experts have explained that there are multiple ways contamination can occur, and I am fully willing to undergo any retroactive current or future testing to demonstrate that I have always been a clean athlete. I will not make any further comments on this matter until the process is concluded with the result of the B sample. So yeah, he's going to request the B sample be looked at, and kudos for that. Now let me say this, because I don't want to completely throw him under the bus yet, because we don't know yet. But I got to be honest with you guys. It's kind of suspect, because it seems like when fighters get with Eddie Reynoso, you know, we have a lot of guys under Eddie Reynoso's wing getting popped for illegal banned substances in his system, in their systems. Canelo Alvarez was popped high, Oscar Valdez, and numerous others. And now we have this situation with Jaime Munguia. Jaime Munguia hasn't really been with Eddie Reynoso that long. And I talked about this before, how I wish that Jaime Munguia would have stayed with Freddie Roach, because I thought Freddie Roach taught him a lot about the basic fundamentals. And now here it is, he's with Eddie Reynoso and he's popped hot. Again, it's becoming a pattern, guys. You know, I'm not just saying this, I'm not just hating, it's becoming a pattern with Eddie Reynoso. And I talked about how, you know, they can't have fighters on performance enhancing drugs in the sport. It's already a dangerous sport, and then you got some guy who's on performance enhancing drugs. The other person could lose their life. You just don't know. You know, it's just not fair for someone to be clean and then another fighter to be dirty. And I just think boxing needs to do more about this. You know, they're giving these fighters slaps on the wrist, and, you know, they're not, you know, it's nothing to make them quit. You know, they're going to keep doing it if they're going to get a slap on the wrist. You have to have some type of consequence that's really severe and harsh, in my opinion. But like I said, I want to give Jaime Munguia the benefit of the doubt. I think, you know, he's a good fighter. But if he's taking performance performance enhancing drugs, man, he needs to be punished for it. And that goes for any fighter. That goes for any fighter. I know a lot of people are going to think, people are being biased about the situation, but I think it should be across the board when it comes to these fighters. It's a dangerous sport. And like I said, people can lose their lives, people get hurt, and it's just not fair. We had the big debacle with Ryan Garcia on performance enhancing drugs, and the media tried to sweep that under the rug like it wasn't a big thing, but it is a big thing. And that's why, you need channels to call this stuff out. People don't want to hear the truth. They want to hear a well-orchestrated lie. And that's why I'm here. I want to be a truth teller. I'm not a full-time boxing YouTuber. I do this as a hobby. But I love the sport, and I don't want to see the sport tarnished and, just die out completely. So things like this needs to be evaluated. Things like this needs to be looked at. Things like this need to be taken seriously. And I think they need to look at Eddie Reynoso and kind of see what's going on behind closed doors. Is Eddie Reynoso, does he have anything to do with this? Because it's a lot of his fighters are popping dirty. It's just an observation. And I know a lot of you guys see it, even if you're fans, you see this stuff. You see it. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Jaime Munguia when the B sample comes out. And then, of course, there's going to be some type of punishment. But I think that really, they really need to sit down. The boxing really needs to sit down and come up with a correct punishment for fighters popping hot for illegal banned substances. But anyway, that's my take on it. You guys let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. It's the CMB. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.